As part of General Casey's larger strategy to reclaim the Euphrates Valley, part of 2nd Brigade's mission would be to hold the region that had recently been dubbed the Triangle of Death for its relentless insurgent and sectarian violence, both against Americans and Iraqi on Iraqi. For the past 3 years, the area had been very lightly occupied by American forces, with no unit staying more than 6 months. Insurgents thrived wherever Americans were absent, and the area had become a deeply entrenched home base for a variety of insurgent groups, criminal gangs, and violent religious partisans. Insurgent organizations, including Al-Qaeda in Iraq, AQI, enjoyed virtually unfettered transit from the Syrian border down the Euphrates River corridor, from Fallujah through to Yusufia or Mahmudia and up into Baghdad. Between the rivers and the roads, terrorists had multiple paths into the city and ample staging locations to stash weapons, build bombs, house fighters, and plan attacks. Ebel's mission would be to deny insurgents access to Baghdad throughout his area of operation, AO, and as his unit's intelligence increased, to uproot and destroy insurgent safe havens. Simultaneously, however, he was tasked with helping to train the 4th Brigade, 6th Division of the Iraqi Army, IA, so that they ultimately could ensure the stability of the region. These two broad goals would sometimes be at odds with one another. Rooting out insurgent hotbeds was the most immediate, life-or-death priority. But training the IA was what, in the long term, would allow the United States to leave Iraq. The spearheads putting pressure on this terrorist stronghold would naturally be Ebel's 2 infantry battalions. 1st Strike, led by Lieutenant Colonel Tom Kunk, and Strike Force, led by Lieutenant Colonel Rob Haycock. But how to array them? Ebel decided it all came down to the personalities of his commanders. The eastern half of 2nd Brigade's territory was urban, featuring the towns of Mahmudia, Yusufia, and Lutufia. As such, it required a leader who could navigate the complex political and ethnic power struggles playing out not just at the end of gun barrels, but in council meetings, tribal gatherings, and other ostensibly civil occasions. It required a lot of glad-handing and negotiations with sheikhs and other powerful men of the area whose loyalties were constantly shifting and always suspect. The western sector was far more rural, with smaller hamlets dotting wide swaths of agricultural land and isolated farmhouses, making it an ideal hiding locale for native insurgents, foreign Al-Qaeda, and other sorts who didn't want to be found. "Tom's more engaging," said Ebel. "He's more capable of communicating with others in one sense. Rob was distinctly focused on fighting. Tom would be able, in my mind, to exercise restraint and go work with local officials. I sensed I needed Tom in the area where the population centers were."